to device back. Okay. All right. Guess the phone is making me do my thing a certain way. Okay, folks. I think I'm live. All right. Welcome. Happy holidays, everyone. As usual, I'm gonna wing it. I'm in Florida. It's a little chilly here. I heard it might even snow on Christmas here in northern Florida. North Central Florida is where I live. Probably the safest place in Florida in general. We're about an hour from either coast. And if any tornadoes or any hurricanes come up, they're usually dissipated by the time they get to us. But anyways, but it may get down into 20s. It's unheard of here, just about. Not unheard of for us to get in the 20s. Usually it's later in the season where you'll get, you know, maybe 8 or 10 days of frost a year here. Much different than up north where I used to be from, in Buffalo. Usually, you know, as soon as the sun comes up, it goes away. But here it might be raining and lightning and 29 degrees on Christmas Day. We might get a white Christmas here, first time forever probably, I don't know. Anyways, the earth is changing, and I guess it's all good. Some people are worried about it. I don't personally believe that it's all our fault. I think it's part of a natural change personally, but I think we're exasperating it, making it worse. That's my beliefs on that stuff. I wonder what camp you're in on these earth changes and weather changes. It certainly seem to be changing. The stats are changing, and the weather seems to be showing us different things. Anyways, I hope your Christmas is going to be, and your holidays, if you're not Christian and not celebrating Christmas, I hope your holidays are bright and cheery one way or the other, whether you're celebrating Hanukkah or Kwanzaa, whatever you do. Or you're atheist and don't celebrate anything, just glad for the break. Enjoy. All right, so I was brought up Christian, and I have many of the Christmas songs in my brain, and most people have heard them at least, even if you're not into it. And that's cool if you're not into it too. I understand that some people think Christmas is a big farce. I get that too. And a lot of commercially, it kind of is. It kind of lost the spirit of it, I think. But either way, whatever you believe is wonderful, and that's fine with me. And so let's try some Christmas songs today by ear, and also do some things by ear that'll help you learn how to play by ear. We'll use a couple holiday songs as an excuse to practice our ear training. So, first one, Jingle Bells. So if I told you to point at you and say, play me Jingle Bells, what would you do? You might say, give me a second, and mess around with it. But the best way to play Jingle Bells, I think, is to know a little bit of the theory and say, okay, what key am I going to play this in? And then know what note within that key Jingle Bells starts. Now I'll give you a hint. Jingle Bells starts on the third of the key. So let's work with the key of D. It's very easy. It's on the middle of the violin. It's on the viola. It's on the cello. If you're playing along, it's on the mandolin. So, D major scale. If you're here to play along with this live lesson and any of my materials on the Fiddle Jam Institute, you'll know that that's kind of pretty essential stuff to know the D major scale, the do, re, mi. All right. My computer just got to notice that we're live about 5 minutes in. Crazy. Anyways, so the D major scale, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. And the third note is what? Who can tell me what the third note is? F sharp. There's the third note, note number 3. All right? D is the first note, the second note is E, and the third note is F sharp. So let's start this song. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. It's hard to be in this earth and not have heard that song, right? Again, whether you're into Christmas or not, try it along. So, jingle bells, jing. How far up does the next note go? A couple notes. And then it jumps down. So that might be hard at first. 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 5, 1. Okay, now you can hear that it goes 3, da da. You can flip in your mind 3, da da. 2 notes, right? And then D is jumping down 5 notes. That's harder to tell by ear, but you also it's easier to feel by heart because it's the 1, and the 1 is relaxed. Dun, 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 ba, ba, ba. You could end a song there if you wanted, couldn't you? You feel that? Dun, dun, bum. Ta-da, we're done, right? The tonic sounds like it's done. So that's how to find your way around by ear too. So here we go again. F, 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 dun, 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 dun. Up one more. We're back to the same note we started on, aren't we? Let's try that much again. The next part goes up, how many notes? You can hear that? It's a close half step. 3, 3, 3, down one more, up one, down one, and then it A. It's the second strongest note in the key. It's the dominant, they call it. And then back to the beginning, isn't it? F, 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 C, A, tonic, up a half step, down a half step, A, down one note. Here's the hard part, skips two. So at the end is A, G, hear the quick flip of the in-between notes. Dun, dun, dun. In your mind, that's a way to kind of cheat your way through it and kind of fumble your way through it. Let's try it one more time, see if you got it. Key of D. Starts on the third note, which is F sharp. Ready, go. Da da. Beginning. A, down one, skips. So that's something new to learn the intervals. It's the na-na song. It's a minor third. So, so there's some tricks you can kind of learn to find. If you learn to find the close intervals in your mind and training your ear first, half steps, like from F sharp to G. That's as close as it gets. Close fingers, or A to B is a whole step, or E to F sharp, whole step as a spaced fingering. Learn to find the smallest intervals first. Half steps, whole steps. Minor third would be next. Then a third would be after that. Then you can get to the fifths and the roots and stuff and jumping around. So that's one way. So find a melody by ear by kind of figuring out the first note and what key you're in, and then hearing how far away the next note is. If you can kind of hum it, you can kind of let your fingers follow your ear. Does that make sense? I hope so. Good. Now there's other ways to play by ear to a song like this too. One is to improvise a background part. So, now you go, but I don't know the chords. Now if you know guitar, chords are easy for you, and I can hold the guitar up and play it in the camera here, and if you know chords you can see. Let's see, I'll have a guitar. I got my trusty Taylor electric here, and a cable somewhere. Which cable? I'll plug it in. Got the amp already warmed up, my new favorite amp. My Ignator tweaker amp over here, tube amp. I love it. All right, plug it in. It's on the AC setting, which I think is the AC Vox. It's a nice smooth amp. Bad cable here too, I think. This cable has an on-off switch. There we go. Okay, now, songs like Jingle Bells and many folk songs, children's songs, holiday songs are almost always 3 chords. If you're used to my materials at all, you've heard me talk about the 1-4-5. If you can learn to hear which chord it's on, because chords have numbers just like notes have numbers, the chord that's based on the first note of the scale is called chord number 1. The chord that's based on the second of the scale is called, you guessed it, chord number 2, etc. All right? And there's 7 possible chords you can make from the notes of the D major scale because there's 7 different notes. And chords are made basically out of every other note. So the first chord of the key of D is D, F sharp, A is the 3 notes that fit together in some fashion on a guitar or a piano or other chordal instrument by mixing those 3 notes together in any fashion you want. That makes the D chord. And you can kind of hear the root. Whether you know guitar or not, or can see these my fingers, D. Can you hum that tonic note? D. Good. That's the first chord. D in the key of D, of course, right? Now the other 2 chords are the most important 3 are the 4 chord, G. The 4 chord has kind of an uplifting feeling when it gets in the mix of all of them. D is relaxed, da, da, da. It's kind of sweet and uplifted. And then the most powerful one actually is the 5, which is A. So if you sit in with a band and they go, oh, it's easy, just follow us, it's 1, 4, 5, it's easy stuff. 1, 4, 5 is the secret lingo for what they're talking about, the 3 main chords in music in any particular key. Now in the key of D that we're working with right now, it's D, G, and A. All right. Now A is the strongest second last chord you can have in the key in the key of D. So the 5 chord is the strongest second last chord. It always wants to lead back to 1. G, it's just kind of sweet. It doesn't lead back to 1 as strongly. It's okay, but when you get to 5, it's got this fisted feeling, right? 5, 1, relaxed. So there's the feelings of the 3 chords. 1 is relaxed. 4 is uplifted, and 5 is fisted and goes back to 1. Can you kind of feel that? So, see if you can find the root of each chord. Which chord am I playing now? I'm taking my hands off to putting the guitar out of the camera shot. D. Can you play that on your fiddle? D. Does it match? Good. Which chord am I playing now? Da da da. G, the 4, right? You can do open G or an upper G. Any G will do. Which chord am I playing now? A. Hear it? And what's that one? Relaxed. D. Are you getting better at hearing the root note, the fundamental as I call it? Good. Make up a background to Jingle Bells with me using just the names of the chords and try to feel the chord. It's going to be one of those 3, D, G, or A. You can play a 3rd finger on the G string, or a 3rd finger on the D string for your G, or open G, it doesn't matter. You can play open A for the 5 chord, or you can play 1st finger on the G string if you want for the 5 chord as well. So I'm going to hum the tune, kind of mumble along, and I'm going to play the 3 chords in the order they go in the song. Jingle bells, D, 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 D. Ready for a change? Da, da, da. G, 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 G. Back to 1. D, 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 D. What's that one? A, 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 A. What's next? Can you hear it coming? D, D, D. Uplift to, you hear it? G, you got it right. I'm back. D, 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 and A, and how'd it go? I hope well. Were you able to follow? Now, if you know the fingerings on guitar, you can always have one little visual aid and look at the fingerings that someone's playing guitar. That helps too. That's not cheating. It's okay to do whatever it takes to know what's going on in a song. If you happen to know guitar chords that are playing with a guitar player, that's fine. I encourage you most to hear by ear and hear the bass note. That's hopefully what we just did. Let's try it one more time. D, 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 G, 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 and a D, 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 and a A, A. G, 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 and D, 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 and a A. how'd it go? I was singing the bass note that time rather than the melody. It sounded a little bit bland probably, right? The melody will harmonize with the bass notes. Sometimes they'll match it, usually they don't. So that's one way to go as far as knowing your way around, at least participating even if you don't know the song and trying to hear the 1, the 4, the 5. Most Christmas songs are that. All right, let's pick another one. Equally non-threatening in a political fashion is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. All right, who can go wrong with Rudolph, right? Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And let's work with the same key, D. So, what note does Rudolph start on? Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. So what note is that in the key of D? You figure it out? What note is that in the key of D? No, D is D. And we have that note. Hello from Brazil. So, that is A note. So, it's the 5th note. So all you have to do is memorize that Rudolph starts on the 5th of the key. So, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. All right? So, let me get my violin first. So we'll try the melody first. Yeah, let's do that. So for those who are just joined us, we're trying Christmas songs by ear and seeing what we can learn from playing by ear intervallically, how far away the next note is on a familiar song, or also learning how to back up and find notes within the chords and harmony structure by ear. So we're working with Rudolph's Red-Nosed Reindeer right now. So as we figured out already that it starts on the 5th note. Rudolph went up 1 note, didn't it? Rudolph the went back down. Rudolph the Red. You can hear it come down 3. Rudolph the Red. No, that's a big jump. Red. It jumps up 6 notes actually from 3 up to the 8. But we learned in Jingle Bells, working with Jingle Bells, that you can kind of sense the tonic. Could finish right there, right? Rudolph, all right, red nose. So that's one way to try and find the tonic. It could be up above the other notes. Rudolph the red nose. Went back to the first note, or the first 2 notes. So you kind of get those stuck in your head, and they'll kind of ring in your head. You can remember notes if you've played them already. Oh, that's the same note I just played a second ago. Try and listen across time zones. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny... And a new note, down a half step. Nose. So how far away is that? As close can be. All right? Now... Instead of starting an A, we heard the A earlier. The next part is starts 1 note down. It's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer had a very shiny nose. And if you can even flick your fingers. And down 3 notes, and then there's the D, but it's 1 note behind that, which we already had in our head just from a second. And if you ever down 1 saw it, you would even say it. Back to that F sharp. Like the beginning. Down a half step. Just like before. Down 1 note each. It goes even higher, doesn't it? To E and to the tonic. So these are the kind of things you can learn to kind of hang on to pitches in your mind like they're stuck, and then go, oh, there's that note again, or I'm 1 note above that old note. All right? Or I'm going to the tonic. These are all things you can learn to strengthen your ear. I don't think we need to go through the whole melody now. Let's go back to that chord stuff we were doing with the guitar. So you can bet that Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is just as simple as Jingle Bells. And I'll say almost. So likely has the same 3 chords. D is the 1, G is the 4, and A is the 5th note of that key. If you're just joined us, again, it's D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, and the chords will be named numbers just like the notes are. D is the first note, 1, 2, 3, 4. G is the fourth note, and A is the fifth note. And chords, 1, 4, and 5. You'll hear musicians in the lingo talk about 1, 4, 5, and this is D, G, and A. In classical music, it's the tonic, the subdominant, and the dominant, the 5 being dominant and fisted sounding, feeling. D is relaxed, as we said in Jingle Bells. The 4 chord, G in this case, is kind of uplifted and soft, sweet. And back to 1, right? But the 5 is this, wants to go back to the relaxation of the tonic, D, okay? It's 1, 4, 5, always wants to lead back to 1. Okay, now there is another chord, we'll get to that in the bridge of Rudolph, we'll get to that in a second, I'll explain something. So Rudolph, can you play the melody with my chords? Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose, and if you ever saw it, you would even say it glows. All of the other reindeers used to laugh and call him names. They never let poor Rudolph join in any reindeer games. Okay, now that's all the farther we got in the melody. And if you're watching my fingers or play the guitar, you'll notice I only played a couple chords so far, didn't I? If not, pay attention. Harmonize with me now. Play the tonic of each chord. It starts in a D chord. D, 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 A, da, 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 A, 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 then D, 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 and A. Can you hear it? Hear it? What's next? D, D, D. All right, now, then one foggy Christmas Eve, it goes 4 chord, G. Then one, whole different feeling, isn't it? Whole different section, different feeling. The composer picked a good chord. Then one foggy. What's next? Can you hear it ahead of time? D, Christmas Eve. A, yeah, tonic D, A, here's the big surprise. E, da, 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 A, da, da, da. Like before, D, 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 A, and D. Okay, so the main part of the song is very easy. It's just 2 chords, not 3, just 2. But we had that strange E chord in the bridge, didn't we? Then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say, Rudolph with your nose so bright, won't you get my sleigh tonight? So that chord is rather common too. If you're ever going to learn past the first 3, the 1, 4, and 5, the next most important chord, in my opinion, is the 2 chord. So what is the 2 chord in the key of D? D, E. All right? Now normally if you're using notes just from the D major scale, the E chord would be a minor chord. That sounds weird to the song, and the composer chose to make it major. And a lot of composers do. So the 2 chords often skips key a little bit, alters the key a little bit, and composers will often make the 2 chord major. This happens in old-time country songs, this happens in Beatles songs, it happens in Rolling Stones songs, it happens in all kinds of music. All right, so if you're ever going to learn to hear the 4th most popular chord, it's going to be the 2 chord almost always. All right, and that's a good one to hear too. It's just up 1 from the tonic. Now, the other thing that's interesting about the 2 chord, this is a weird mathematical stuff. You can follow me for a second before we run out of time today. The 2 chord happens to be the special trick. It's actually 5 away from the 5. We've already said that the 5 chord, A in this case, loves to resolve to the D chord, right? Its tension relaxes to the D, right? So that feeling can be multiplied by doing multiples of the 5-to-1 cadence, as they call it, the 5-to-1 motion or progression. So 5, 1. If you go, let's see, if you got D, E, F sharp, G, A. So A is the 5th of D, right? So what's the 5th of A? If this is A, B, C sharp, D, pass that to E. So E is the fifth of A, and A is the fifth of D. Make sense? Now there are chords in musical history that do strings of these 5/1s. In jazz, we get that another time. In rhythm changes, in the bridge, it goes 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. All of them are actually 5 apart from each other. We'll get to that another time. But in this song, so Bridge of Rudolph. 4 chord, then 1 foggy D. Christmas Eve, A. Santa came to a D. A. Rudolph with your nose so bright. The 2 chord E. Won't you guide my, which is 5 away from the 5. Here's the 5. And then that's 5 away from, then I'll do. Okay, so hopefully if you have any questions, you'll send me emails. There is one other cool way to try and train your ear to play along with simple songs. And that is just learn the nearest note. So let's try it. What I want you to do, I'm going to go back to Jingle Bells. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. What fun it is to ride in one horse open sleigh. Okay, what I want you to do is try this. These are different approaches you can do to play by ear. You either follow the bass line, follow the tonic. That's a good thing to do because it'll help you learn how to follow chord changes. But if you're lost and can't do that, pick any note. Let's say, pick the A note, open A. And in this case, I want you to use only open A's or switch to B's when you think it'll harmonize better. First finger B or open A. So, jingle bells, it's A, A, A. A is going to fit the first chord. It's actually in the D chord. A, 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 jingle bells, jingle, A, A, A. Now I'm going to the G chord, aren't I? B, it fits that chord better than A. It's kind of clangy with that chord. B, here it harmonized. So reach in your mind for that harmony. So back to B, jingle bells, A, 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 jingle all the way. Up to B, oh what fun it is. A. I just switched chords, but that is an A chord, so an A better fit an A chord, right? So stay on the A. A, 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 this is a technique you can learn too. Pick any note that sounds good and then try and hear how far away the next harmonizing note is from that note. And almost guaranteed there's never more than 1 note or maybe 2 at the most to fit to that chord just perfectly. If you don't like the note you're on, go up 1 or down 1. It's going to be probably pretty close because of the nature of how chords are built. Chords are built out of every other note of a scale. You know, the D chord is the first note, the third note, and the fifth note of the scale. The A chord is the 5, the 7, and the 2 in the next octave. The 4 is the 4, 6, and the 8 of that key. So it always goes every other note. So if you're on a note that's in between, it might not sound so good, but just go up 1 note or down 1 note. You're almost guaranteed to pick one that fits and harmonizes. Whether it's a half step up or a whole step up depends on the key. But try and hear that. Is this closer up? Is this just close note? You know, am I going from B to C or B to C sharp? Which is it? Try and hear how far away those short intervals, the small intervals are. That's a great place to start with your ear training. Try and play any Christmas song you can. On the website, I have a whole list of Christmas songs here. And they're all out of the vault for the season. Joy to the World is on there. Deck the Halls. Let's see what else is on there. Let me see if I can find a list. Let's see here. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. I don't know where the holiday songs. Oh, here, holiday songs. Got the tab right at the top of the page. Go to fiddlejaminstitute.com, and right now the holiday songs. Now you need to be at least a free member to see these. Holiday songs section page is a link there. Oh, I forgot check out Fitz You and the Fanatics, my old band back in the 90s, did a great punk rock version of Deck the Halls with professional puppeteering group. Is really hilarious. I'm still proud of that. Where the Muppet type beings took over the set and pushed over the drums and wrecked the Christmas tree and stuff. We went crazy. Wreaking havoc. Anyways, that's fun. Check that out. I'll try and link that in the link below after I post this. Let's see, Hobgoblin's Waltz is on there. Oh Holy Night, Old Lang Syne for New Year's coming up. The Christmas song, Chestnuts Roasting on an Open Fire, Up on the Housetop. I played on a recording of that, and a Zydeco version of that too, and there's a video of that too. Rocking Around the Christmas Tree, Jingle Bell Rock, Here Comes Santa Claus, Feliz Navidad, Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer, favorites. Joy to the World, Deck the Halls, Jingle Bells, Silent Night, Rudolph's Red-Nosed Reindeer, and of course Frosty the Snowman. The other not so politically scary song this time of season if you're not into holiday stuff. So here's a list of a bunch of good songs, all classics. Check them out if you remember. I encourage you to. For the season, I got the tab up at the top, the holiday songs. I think you'll need to be at least a free member to see those. I can't remember the coding on it for sure, but I think that's the case. And there's charts there, there's fingering charts, there's chord charts. You can try and learn from them. There's some recordings. You can try and play along. You can try and hear the harmony, make up your own harmonies. It's a great practice. Other than that, if it's not the holiday time, kids songs, you know, Mary Had Little Lamb or something, try and find the harmony to that. So there's many great ways to train your ear. The idea is always, always, always to train your ear, which is actually your brain, right? Train your brain to hear what's coming, whether it's the next chord, you go, oh, that's the one chord, I can hear it. Or whether that note is, I can hear it going up one note to harmonize. Learn the nearest thing, and you'll learn to expand that farther and farther into the near future, where you'll hear whole phrases, and you'll be able to play that. Oh, I heard that lick, and then I'm going to play that lick. That's the magic. Learning the holographic mind, holographic time zones. You're hearing what you're hearing as you play it, but you're also hearing what you hope to. Oh, here comes that change. I can hear it. It goes up just a little bit. Or the chord changes. That's where it starts. Hearing and developing that sense. Also hearing what the past is still bouncing around in there, and maybe you can reference from it. Like, oh, there's that same chord I just heard a second ago. It comes back right now. So learn to relax and listen in the 3 different time zones, past, present, of course, but also, more importantly in music, a little bit the future. Now, we're not talking about next week. We're talking about 3 to 10 seconds ahead. You know, it's more, you get better and better at this, more relaxed. You kind of hear, you can almost feel it in your gut where that neck, you're rising at your seat. I hear that note changing. It's right here. There it is. Okay. You learn to trust that. You learn to follow that. You learn to obey that and be obedient to it. Obedience was such a hard word for me to learn as a musician, being obedient to anything, the rebel that I am. But I learned to be obedient to that inner voice and learn to trust it pretty explicitly. In music, at least. In life, I'm still working on it. It helps. Music can be a great leader and a teacher for us to learn these almost sacred things. All right? Learn to get in the zone and trust the zone and let it lead you physically to where you need to be, or where you need to play, at least what you need to play. All right? Hopefully in more than that, how we need to speak and treat each other and behave and these kind of things. We all know the good stuff in our hearts and minds. Just learn to trust that and follow it, you know, and life would be generally much more graceful and better. And at least the music making, if I can't help you in the rest of life, as I'm still a student of the rest of life too, at least in music you can learn to play more gracefully and be on time, have a better groove, hear the rhythms ahead of time, hear the notes ahead of time, and get there with some grace and agility and have a good time doing it. All right? So that's plenty of me blabbing today. I hope you all have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever holiday you're choosing to celebrate, or none, if that's the case too. That's fine. And we'll hopefully all have a better New Year. I will probably try and do one next week as well. It's between holidays. I won't miss, I don't think, I have any big vacation plans this year. So I hope you all have a great and blessed time, and stay relaxed and be cool and whole and peaceful, at least in yourself, even if you're alone. All right? And be thankful that we're on this planet all together and we're trying to make it a better place to be. All right? It's my idea and I'm sticking to it. So amen, and see you next time.